I stepped back into my house that evening only because I'd forgotten my reading glasses on the dining room table, a small annoyance that comes with being 70. I pushed the front door open quietly, thinking I'd simply grab them and leave again. But the moment I stepped in, I heard my son's voice drifting from the living room. Robert was on the phone, but the tone cold, amused. Almost sinister froze me in place. "Honey, it's done," he said with a low laugh. I'd never heard from him before. "I transferred everything. She won't even know what hit her." My heart slammed against my ribs. I pressed my back to the hallway wall. Was he talking about me? He continued, lighter, almost triumphant. "She trusts me too much. That's the problem with old people. They hand you the keys and expect you to guard the castle." My stomach twisted. Old people. He listed the numbers, every penny, Arthur, and I had saved over 40 years of running our small pharmacy. Every retirement check, every deposit, my savings, my future, all gone with a few clicks. And then he said her name. Sarah? His wife? The woman who had entered our lives with practiced sweetness, calling me mom with teary hugs. Now I understood what hid behind those smiles. When Robert mentioned buying a future beach house with my life savings, something inside me shattered. I had raised this boy. I had loved him harder than I'd loved myself. And hearing him talk about me as if I were nothing more than a bank vault, it broke a part of me I didn't even know was fragile. I slipped out of the house as quietly as I had entered. Once outside, I clung to the railing because my legs were trembling so violently I thought they'd give out. The world looked painfully normal: children playing outside, neighbors chatting by their hedges, while my entire life had just been ripped apart in a 10-minute phone call. Inside my car, I finally let myself cry. Not the soft kind of crying you do after a sad movie, but a full, gut-wrenching collapse of the soul. But even through the tears, something colder, sharper, began forming inside me. Not revenge. Not yet. Determination. I wiped my face, turned my keys, and drove. If Robert wanted to play this game, I would not crumble. Not this time. Not for him. But little did I know, the betrayal ran deeper than one stolen account. And I was about to discover I wasn't Robert and Sarah's only victim. Driving aimlessly through Boston's quiet streets, my mind worked faster than my trembling hands. Every moment of the past year suddenly made sense in the worst way possible. Sarah's constant questions about my finances, Robert pressuring me to make him power of attorney, the subtle hints that I was getting old and needed help. I had mistaken manipulation for concern. Finally, I parked at a small, half-empty garden downtown and dialed the only person who could guide me through this storm: Rebecca, my closest friend of 40 years. The woman who had seen me through Arthur's death, my retirement, and every heartbreak in between. She arrived within 15 minutes, breathless and furious. "That snake," she spat. "That boy." "Mary, we are not letting them get away with this." With Rebecca's help, the fog in my mind slowly cleared into a plan. Tomorrow morning, I'd go straight to the bank. I'd speak to Sebastian, the branch manager who'd known me for decades. Tonight, Rebecca warned, you act normal. If Robert shows up, smile. Pretend you know nothing. If he suspects anything, he'll move the money. The idea of facing him made my stomach churn. But she was right. This was a performance I had to play. When I returned home, Robert's car was parked outside. My heart lurched, but I breathed deeply and forced myself to slip back into the role of the clueless mother. He greeted me with his old, familiar smile. If I hadn't heard that call earlier, I would have thought everything was fine. "I tried calling you," he said warmly. "Oh, I was with Rebecca." I lied smoothly. Time got away from us. He nodded, relaxed. Perfect. He didn't suspect a thing. We made small talk, empty words that felt like swallowing broken glass. He even offered to help me with any bank issues I might face. The irony was suffocating. Later, alone in my bed, I stared at the ceiling until dawn. My mind replayed every moment of Robert's life, his first steps, his teenage tantrums, the day he graduated. Moments that once brought joy now felt like open wounds. By morning, I was dressed, focused, and standing outside the bank doors before they opened. Sebastian listened carefully as I explained. His face slowly twisted into alarm. 3 transfers. $280,000. All sent to Sarah's personal account. I had expected betrayal, but not the scale of it. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, the bank revealed a secret that shattered everything I believed about my son. Sebastian didn't waste a second. He blocked my account, printed every suspicious transaction, and connected me with the bank's fraud division. The next step was unavoidable: filing a formal complaint. A complaint against my own child. Rebecca met me at the district attorney's office, holding my hand as I filled in the form. Accused Robert Martinez. Relationship. Son. I nearly broke down writing that word. After hours of waiting, a young prosecutor named Sandra met with us. Her calmness steadied me. "This is clear financial exploitation," she said. "We will act immediately." But it was the next revelation that nearly sent me collapsing. Sandra introduced us to another elderly man, a quiet, broken gentleman named Elias. His eyes were the same eyes I'd seen in the mirror. Betrayed, exhausted, humiliated. Sarah had been married before, and she had done the exact same thing to Elias's son. She manipulated him, pressured him into handling his father's finances, and drained $120,000 from Elias's account before. Disappearing. History wasn't repeating itself. It was escalating. This wasn't just betrayal. It was a pattern. A strategy. A business. A predator disguised as a daughter. Sandra stood firm and decisive. "This gives your case enormous weight. We're issuing a block on the destination account today. If Sarah tries to move the funds, we'll catch it." 2 days later, Sandra called me urgently. "They tried to flee," she said. Sarah and Robert were detained at the airport with bags of cash and jewelry. My breath caught. They were really going to run. They were going to leave me with nothing, not even answers. Rebecca held me as the shock rolled over me in waves. I wasn't sure if I wanted justice or simply the truth. Later that day, Sandra called again. "Robert requested to see you before the hearing. You don't have to agree." Part of me wanted to refuse, but another part, some raw, wounded instinct, needed closure. So I agreed. When I entered the room, Robert looked nothing like the confident man from days earlier. He was pale, handcuffed, shaking. "Mom, please." His voice cracked, but my heart didn't. Not anymore. His explanation was worse than the betrayal itself and what he confessed. Next nearly brought me to my knees. Robert begged, cried, blamed manipulation, blamed Sarah, blamed desperation. But his excuses dissolved the moment I remembered his laughter on that phone call. "You didn't sound manipulated," I told him. "You sounded proud." His tears meant nothing to me now. Not compared to the nights I had stayed awake raising him alone after Arthur died. Not compared to the trust he had shattered. "You're going to prison?" I said quietly. "And when you come out, don't expect the mother you knew to still be waiting." He broke down completely, a sound I had never heard from him before. But even that couldn't mend what he had destroyed. The hearing was cold, procedural, and devastating. Sarah's mask finally cracked, revealing the predator beneath. Elias testified with trembling strength. The bank provided records. Sandra presented a flawless case. By the end, both were denied bail. A trial date was set. 3 months later, the final verdict fell like a gavel on my soul. Sarah, 8 years in prison. Robert, 5 years, reduced only because he cooperated. The judge's words still echo in my memory. "You committed a moral crime against the person who loved you most. Nearly all the money was but the emotional cost, far greater." In the months that followed, life gradually reshaped itself. I sold the house, moved to a smaller apartment, formed a support group with Rebecca and Elias for seniors who had been financially abused by family. We discovered that betrayal like ours was far more common than anyone dared to admit. People cried in those rooms. People healed in those rooms. So did I. 6 months later, I received a letter from Robert. Pages of regrets, apologies, explanations. I read it. I folded it. I put it away. Forgiveness is a mountain I am not ready to climb. But I'm learning to live without carrying the weight of his betrayal. One quiet evening, sitting with Elias and Rebecca at a cafe, Elias said something I will never forget. "They thought they were taking your power, but all they did was reveal it." And he was right. I may have lost a son, but I found a stronger version of myself. One who knows that peace sometimes requires painful choices. And defending your dignity is never the wrong one. And yet, the story didn't end here. Because months later, I received one final message that changed everything again. If this story touched your heart, tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story so more people remember. No matter how old you are, it's never too late to stand up for yourself.